So, it's been a long day, but that's us finished. It's just went about 5:30. These types of events help to make that possible for us, really. So it's really awesome to come along and be part of the kind of the wider team.
So my name's David. I'm an associate and senior technician at Passivhaus and Architects. You know, if it's 18 or 19 degrees at your head, but 13 degrees at your feet, you'll feel the draft.
So Chris Hines, Sales Director for Steff Industries. I'm also a quantity surveyor. That's the background and degree that I've got.
One of the things that I noticed when I was working in architecture, focusing on Passivhaus, was that windows and doors are one of the more complicated areas within any project. Hi folks, it's it's Friday and I've just arrived at Steff Industries because we're taking part in a seminar today, self-build seminar at Steff in Dalgety Bay, and I am just arriving. My talk is generally in the afternoon at these seminars, so I'm just going to go in. Obviously we do a wee bit about windows and doors, but overall it's a self-build seminar and there will be a number of different people speaking. So there will be general overviews in terms of planning process, finances, the building warrant. There's bits and pieces about MVHR, structural considerations, windows and doors. So there's lots of different bits and pieces involved in that, and it's a really good thing for us to be involved in because it's a really good opportunity to meet clients. Generally SIPs tend to do it after some of the kind of main shows. So we've just had the home building and renovating show in Birmingham. I think a lot of the customers that are coming here today to take part in the seminar are from that show, but they might have been from, you know, some of the other ones that have been recently on. And so, you know, it's a really good thing to be part of. We're really happy to be part of it. So looking forward to getting into it now. And I'm going to take you along for the ride on that today, just so that you can get a general overview of how these things run, what happens, the types of stuff that are discussed and said. I'm going to see if I can speak to a couple of the guys after the seminar, maybe somebody from Steff Industries or maybe somebody from AC Architects, just to see if we can get a kind of overview of the seminar and general feel of, you know, why it's important and what a self-builder might get out of coming along to this. So stick with me. Hopefully I can get some of these guys to speak to me. It's a long day at the seminar, so I'm hoping that they're not going to be too tired after, but fingers crossed that all goes to plan, and we'll just have a wee look at the seminar, okay?
So my name's David. I'm an associate and senior technician at Passivhaus and Architects. So I oversee and specialise in the detailed design and construction of low energy fabric first homes.
Awesome. And so one of the key things that Alan spoke about today in the seminar was the fabric first approach. Obviously, Glassworks does, you know, high performance window and door systems that feed into that fabric first approach, but from an architect, you know, and design standpoint, can you give a wee overview as to why the fabric first approach is so important with regards to a self-build project?
It's basically going to future-proof your home. You know, it's going to give you a low-energy fabric first, reducing the heat demand on the dwelling. It's going to be much cheaper to run. We always say to invest in the fabric first, because you can always upgrade your kitchens, your bathrooms, you can change your furniture further down the line. You're never going to change your fabric. You know, you're not going to get 15, 20 years down the line and think, I'm going to change my fabric because it now doesn't perform up to standards. So, you know, achieving that or exceeding the standards now just future-proofs your home, you know, so it's much cheaper to run, much more comfortable. You know, and older kind of leaky homes, we always say to clients, you know, if it's 18 or 19 degrees at your head, but 13 degrees at your feet, you'll feel the draft. But in a low energy fabric first home, if it's 18 at your head, it's 18 at your feet. So you don't get that draft, you don't get those trills. So it's just much more comfortable to live in.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll agree the windows play a big part in that. So
yes, yeah, definitely.
As Chris said, my name's Steff Bell. Our company is Glassworks, it's architectural glazing. Been sitting in for the afternoon, so there's been a couple of things mentioned. So my background is architecture, I'm an architectural technologist. I'm also a passive house designer. Essentially, I've kind of like been working in this sector for a number of years now, kind of 15, 16 years. And I've just been kind of niching down, finding areas that I'm interested in and whittling it down to the glazing. Our company, as Chris mentioned, do a number of different products. We'll touch on that, but there are a couple of things that you need to consider when you're looking at the glazing package that I'm going to speak about. These include an overview of all the different key areas that you need to think about when considering your glazing package. I will touch on passive house design. I know Alan's touched on that a wee bit, so don't want to go over too much stuff that's already been spoke about. But one of the main things with regards to windows and with the design of glazing within your building is the energy balance. And Passive House is a really good way to encapsulate all of that information. We'll look at the energy balance and some of the things that you should be aware of when you're trying to select the right systems for your project. And then I'll do a wee overview of some of the products that we offer, and then I'll take any questions and we can have a chat beyond that. One of the things that I noticed when I was working in architecture, focusing on Passive House, was that windows and doors are one of the more complicated areas within any project, because it's not as straightforward as some of the other elements where you've got a couple of different options. You just pick something off the shelf and you put it into your building. There's a number of different considerations. These can include aesthetics, so how the window looks, obviously, but that can come down to colour, that can be texture, it could be the profile of the window, so the external shape, it could be based on the type of building that you're building. So is it a traditional building? Do you have mullions? All of this type of stuff. Lots of things to consider there. Performance is a big kind of driver as well, and it's one of the main things that I will focus on today, because as I said, windows and doors are unlike any other element within the building fabric, and energy balance plays a big part in that. That's all driven by performance. The price, the bit that everybody's really interested in, and the thing that drives really the specification in lots of areas. But one thing that I would say, obviously Chris spoke about, they put on 5%, and there's lots of different things to look at. When you're looking at the window package, I would look at the overall service that you're getting from whoever is supplying the windows. Whether that is tied in with a contractor or a kit supplier, such as SIPs, or just the services that company can offer on their own. And the reason I say that is you might find something that is a really good deal, but you are expected to do a lot of the work on the basis that you're getting that low price. So although windows can be quite expensive, if there is a service which ties into that, so my company really focuses on a more consultancy-based approach where we speak to the client from as early as possible. If we can speak to the client when they're at the planning stage or when they've just got building warrant approval, that's really the ideal scenario for us, because we have the opportunity to feed into the design team and help them to make specific decisions around some of these key areas which impact on the overall package, how much it's going to cost, and some of the main decisions that you need to make. So price is a big driver. Materials and finishes, I'll touch on this when we get to the products, but obviously you have internal timber finishes, you have UPVC, you have aluminium, you have a number of different external finishes as well. This all also ties into the aesthetics and how you want the building to look. So this is the point at which it starts to get quite complicated, because you're trying to balance lots of different things and find the right system for your project. Quality is a big driver again. If you are purely driven on price, then you're potentially not going to get good quality out of the systems that you're specifying. And again, what we try and achieve through the consultancy-based approach is trying to find a balance between quality, price, and then the service that we're able to offer. Maintenance, something that everybody needs to think about, and there are a number of different options on this front. The main thing that will help to improve maintenance levels on windows and doors is aluminium cladding on the outside of the windows, because then you have less upkeep and things like that. We also offer all timber options, but there is a kind of annual maintenance package which needs to be undertaken as a result of that. Safety is a big feature. Generally speaking, the architects will help you with that, but we are also there to answer any questions, and we can also point you in the right direction in terms of which type of glass is required for certain areas of the building, whether it's ground floor, first floor, but then also, if it's toughened, laminated, that type of stuff. In addition to that, we can also help with if you've got dual balconies and you need add-ons to go onto those areas, whether that's on the outside of the building or whether it's integrated into the units. There's a number of different options that we can offer there as well. And then on top of that, security. I know that in England, which it seems like most of these developments are taking place, Pass 24 or Secure by Design is one of the kind of main drivers. So the systems that we have offer that level of security as well. So if you're trying to get building warrant approval, that's all tied into what we offer.
So Chris Hines, Sales Director for Sips Industries. I'm also a quantity surveyor. That's the background and degree that I've got. Been in construction industry for 18 years now, 10 of which have been at Sips Industries. So I've got a bit of experience now, and hopefully able to answer any queries that you might have, that type of thing. Today's seminar was pretty good. Lots of engaging questions. A good bunch of people, most of them having sites, some focused self-builders, so yeah, it was pretty good, enjoyable.
And you've mentioned the seminar there, which we've obviously just finished. I've got a couple of questions on it, but the first one would be if somebody was interested to come along to the seminar, if they're a self-builder, if they have a site, or if they're just interested in starting the process, what would they have to do in order to come on the seminar?
Sure, so basically a number of ways you can get in contact. All the seminar information is always on the website, so you can give that a try, sipsindustries.com. Alternatively, you can just give us a call, 01383 823 995, and literally just ask for myself, Christopher Hines. And then similarly, email address, always good, so info@sipsindustries.com. We've got a range of different dates coming up. 30th of May is the next one. It's already quite well subscribed, so get in quick if you want to come. And then I believe we're running one in June, early June, and then after that it will be later in the year following the trade shows in October.
Okay, and all of those dates are for 2025. So if somebody's watching this after, it would just be a case of getting in touch and getting the dates for
right.
any...
Yeah, absolutely. So we run them generally 4 or 5 times a year. Usually they follow the trade shows, so we do a couple early in the year, March, April, May, and then, like I said, towards the end of the year after the trade shows in October and November.
Okay, and just give us a wee bit of overview in terms of what people will get from coming along, and what the importance of something like this is.
So we always say it's worthwhile because as a self-builder, you don't know what you don't know. That's the kind of term that we use. Many people this morning came in thinking they got the plan sussed, they knew what they were doing, they knew what route they wanted to go down and how they wanted to manage their build, etc. And they've left with very different outlooks and a better understanding of the process. I think one of the biggest things was people understood after being at the seminar was to trust your design team. You've paid a lot of money to implement architects, engineers, all these types of people, QSs as well. So lean on them, use them. You paid for the service, so use them. That's one of the biggest pieces of advice we could give you.
So it's been a long day, but that's us finished. It's just went about 5:30. Really awesome thing to be part of. We're happy to come along and speak to customers. We say it time and time again, but at Glassworks we are looking to integrate a more consultancy-led approach to the specification of windows and doors. We're trying to get to speak to people as early as possible, and we are trying to integrate into the design team as much as we possibly can. Obviously, we're not looking to step on anybody's toes, but generally speaking, we are best placed to get the right specification at the right cost and advise in terms of timescales and, you know, specific choices which are going to impact design and things like that if we're part of the project from the beginning. So these types of events help to make that possible for us, really. So it's really awesome to come along and be part of the kind of the wider team of companies that come together to put on these events. It's a really great thing to be part of. And that's us, really. It's been a bit of a kind of whirlwind week. We've not done a huge amount of filming, which is why we thought it was important to try and capture some of the more interesting stuff that we were doing this week, which was obviously coming along to this seminar. It's been a great week. I hope you found that interesting, and I really look forward to seeing you next week. All right, see you soon. Cheers.